What up, ladies? It's your man, Abuamerican. I want to make this video for you guys because I was asking the question in an earlier video, like, what's going on with so many women on these matrimonial apps? And I was doing some matrimonial surfing, you know, and I've spoken to quite a few sisters recently, and here's what I'm noticing. It's like a lot of sisters are on these applications that are like past their prime. And it's not an insult. It's not to say that, you know, the ugly women. It's not to say that they're unsuccessful women. It's just when it comes down to what men are looking for in terms of marriage, these women are past their prime. Okay? Guys are looking for women in their early to mid 20s. And we know this from statistics that matrimonial applications, the operators have put out, that there's generally, when it comes to age, ethnicity is different, obviously, and there are some consistencies in ethnicity, but in general, statistically, men from 18 to like 60 are all looking for women between the ages of 18 to 25. But I'm seeing on these matrimonial apps loads of sisters. And I'm not talking a few, I'm talking a lot in the age range of like 28 and up. So obviously there's a huge disconnect between what women understand men want and what men actually want. So sisters, you know, I'd like you to pay attention here. I'm going to repeat something, and I hate repeating myself, but, you know, there's been this self-improvement zone. You call it red pill, call it whatever you want to call it, right, whatever garbage name you have in your mind for it, I don't really care. The simple fact of the matter is brothers have understood that they've had to improve themselves and become better in order to get better in all aspects of their lives, not just marriage. And they've responded. And a great number of brothers, they start working out. They're trying to do better. They're trying to get careers. They're trying to hustle and make more money. They're trying to get better in their religion. And I've seen it. I've seen brothers improve. I've seen sectors of brothers who haven't improved. But the vast majority of brothers now, we see them. They're in combat sports. They're like, this advice has gone widespread. It's become mainstream. Even if dudes are like, I hate red pill, it's anti-Islam, they've still taken the advice because we see them working out, we see them going to combat sports, we see them trying to improve their life. That didn't fall out of the sky. Dudes weren't doing this just like, you know, 5 to 7 years ago. Point being, you have top pick of men out there. There are loads of brothers out there getting themselves together and being the best that they could possibly be, which means that they're the best possible choices that you can find as a woman. But there hasn't been this same thing for women. There's no self-improvement zone for women. And we see these little joke, like, you know, YouTube channels where a guy says, you know, who's better at self-improvement? And, you know, they're asking women, and the women say women. And he's like, you know, then he asks the women, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And the women say 10. And it's like, how can you be better at self-improvement if you're already at 10? There's no room for self-improvement. You know, and men we don't make this mistake or this, you know, we don't fall for that trick. Because we always know there's something you can always do better. Because that's what we do as men. We compete with one another. We don't have this idea in our mind that we're the best that we can possibly be at any given moment, at any given time. We always understand that there's competition out there because we're always competing with each other. And I don't know why women have competition anxiety, but somehow, I don't know, y'all do things different. I'm not going to get into it, whatever. Here's the thing though, and let's just get to the point here, sisters. All of this, like, you know, career, education, university, we've had this conversation a million times. We're going to have it 1,000,001 times. These are not attraction markers for men, be they Muslim or non-Muslim. And I'm not saying that you should be, you know, pursuing or hoping that the pursuit of non-Muslim men. I'm just saying in general, because we have this entire conversation taking place also. where it's like, oh, well, the kuffar men are better. They show more respect, and they respect me, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, they don't. You know, they're not looking for those attributes either. They're looking for a woman with a low body count so they can smash her and then, you know, get what he actually wants later on, which is a woman with low body count, but probably one that hasn't been university educated. So don't be fooled by them either. They're just running game, where Muslim men generally aren't running game. You know, these guys will play games and fool you, but Muslim men generally, they're just like, yo, he's letting himself hang out, you know, because he's more honest. Even if that honesty is ugly. The truth is ugly. But it's better, no matter how you flip it. You know, Muslim men tend to have a higher, opinion of Muslim women. And therefore, you don't hear a lot of this talk. You hear talks, actually, that's not true. You do hear some problems that brothers voice about women, but is it justified or not justified? And I'm not going to say it's okay for men to criticize women and it's not okay for women to criticize men. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to be that guy. But when I'm looking at self-improvement brothers going out here trying to get the best that he can, and then he's like, well, I got to go to a foreign country in order to get the best that he can, then you have to start asking questions. Because sisters, they're not, you know, sisters, let's be honest. You're university educated here in the West. You're not going to try and marry some guy back home, you know, who changes tires for a living. And he didn't even learn how to change tires at some technical school. He just learned maybe from his uncle or just the guy down the street. You're not looking for that guy. Just like guys here aren't looking for you. You're that guy that you're not looking for, but reverse. So sisters, you got to learn how to take advice. And I understand y'all don't like taking advice from men for some reason, and I don't know why. I mean, we listened, but we had to do it differently. We picked up the cues, we picked up the signals, and we learned game and all these things that women like. And we started using that to our benefit as men. But women haven't done the same in reverse. You see, that's why game theory exists. Hate it, whatever else, dislike it, understand that it works. It works on Muslim women. It would never work on me. It does. You're a woman. Just because you're Muslim doesn't mean you're not a woman. But you ain't got a hoo-ha and tatas. Of course you do. You got the brain of a woman. You got the body of a woman. And this stuff has been designed to work on women. You're a woman. Just because you're a woman doesn't make you immune to it. So, and that's not, again, because I know how stupid people here are on the internet. It doesn't mean that you're out like, you know, some guy games you and you're making zina. Nobody's saying that. For all those stupid people that, you know, got this far, because there's people who will just sit around and do nothing but look for stuff like this. Oh, Abuamerican said. No, you're a feckless cunt. So, anyway, back to the point. Stop going off on tangents of people misunderstanding me intentionally. But it happens, and unfortunately, I gotta make sections like this in videos instead of keeping to the point. Sisters, there has to be a point when you understand that going 90 miles an hour ain't gonna do anything but have you run into something solid, and it's gonna hurt when you hit it. And right now, it seems like a lot of sisters are actually hitting, and, you know, they like to talk about the wall. They'd like to talk about the wall, but this is kind of a wall where it's like there's this disconnect between what women think men want and what men actually want. And this is a wall on its own. This is a massive disconnect, and I'm seeing it real time. And I'm quite sure many brothers are seeing it also. Sisters, there's a world full of men, yes, and there's a world full of women. And guys that are getting themselves together, the guys that you want, these guys, they've got the superfluous cash to go out and fly around the world and find what they want. I suggest that if you don't want to be a 31-year-old sister on an application who gets swiped left on by anybody worth anything and only gets swiped right on by guys who are like, look, a victim, low-hanging fruit. Because I'm going to be honest, and I know it sounds insulting, I know it sounds offensive, but I'm not being offensive. I swear by Allah, that's exactly what you are. At that age, on a matrimonial app. If you're high value, high pick sisters, why are you single at 31? And then you see in these profiles, because now I'm on here experimental wise. Now I'm looking at like, okay, what's going on here? And you see like degrees, and you see career, and won't relocate, and then these angry profiles, and if you're like this, and if you're like that, blah, 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 don't waste my time. Well, y'all don't care what men are interested in. And that's why you're on the application struggling, trying to find a man. You refuse to accept that you need to make a change. That maybe you need help so that you can get what you want. Because brothers, they needed help in getting what they wanted. And now they found that help online. And they've acted upon that, and they're getting what they want. But now, where are they getting it? They're getting it in foreign countries. And now we've got all these Western sisters out here. Where are you going to go? You're going to end up being exactly what you don't want to be, which is single or a co-wife. Those really, it looks like, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm exaggerating. I don't know. But this is what I'm seeing. This is the only results I can see. Listen, nobody's looking for these sisters. I'm 51, I'll repeat it, and I'm not looking for a sister that's like 30 or 31 unless she's spectacular looking. And even then, you could be spectacular looking if your attitude, if you got, example, I matched with this 41-year-old sister. Way outside of what I'm generally looking for. Although I did have a 41-year-old sister, wife, nothing wrong with her, very attractive woman. But just things didn't work out, distance for so long. But other than her, I'm not looking for anybody in her age range. I love that woman still. But somebody new. So anyway, this sister, she's Pakistani, 41, attractive woman, career power woman, and I'm a busy man. I've got a high power career too. I'm doing well also. I've got multiple families. I've got like my book writing and all these types of other things, and I've got other channels that I run more than I run this one. So I don't have a lot of time to like just give her a bunch of time and attention, which is what she's looking for. And then when she can't get what she wants, what does she do? She doesn't become more appealing so that I like divert my attention towards her. She becomes more stubborn. Well, I don't have a lot of time. And it's like, okay, well, then, all right, fine. Knock yourself out, buddy. Do you see what I mean? It's like you're in a position where it's like you need to be crawling on your hands and knees and pushing a tray in order to get me to eat from it. You know what I mean? And okay, now that sounds offensive, but it's kind of like, figuratively speaking, where you're at when you start hitting that age range of 30 plus. Yeah, you're getting a lot of attention, but are you getting married? Sisters, you really need, and I don't think too many women made it this far. So this is for brothers who have sisters. These are for brothers who have aunts. And these are for brothers who have nieces and whatnot that need to be getting married, or cousins or whatever else. You need to start talking to them so that it's clear to them that they, so they don't end up in this position, in this situation. Brothers, I don't care what age you are. Think about it right now. You're swiping on an application if you use them. And you're seeing sisters between 18 to 20, 21, 23, 23, 25, 26, 23, 23, 31 pops up. What are you going to do? You're going to swipe left, right? That's what I do. It's not even a thought to look at her profile. 30, if she's blurred and it says 30 plus, if it's like 30 and it's blurred, or it goes above 30 and it's a blurred that's it. It's an instant left swipe. I'm not reading the profile. I'm not looking if she's my neighbor. I don't care. How many brothers are out there doing the same thing? Probably a lot. And then when you see the profiles that are like 30 and the pictures aren't blurred, what are you doing? You automatically see the difference between a 20-year-old and a 30-year-old. Sometimes the thing that makes the 30-year-old more attractive is just money. She's got a career, she's got money, so she's got more makeup. So when you look closely, it's still the same thing. It's like, okay, she's more attractive than a 20-year-old, but she's also wearing more makeup than a 20-year-old. So she can obviously afford more makeup. Take 3 points off like you should for makeup, and what do you have? You have a woman who's less attractive than the woman who doesn't have makeup or the money for makeup. So, guys who have gotten this far, and women who've gotten this far, understand these are harsh realities that a lot of people are coming, or a lot of sisters are coming to terms with. You do not want your sisters, your nieces, your cousins, your aunts, your daughters to end up in this position. You absolutely don't want them to be in this position to where it's like, I remember one time I was shopping and I wanted to get some cereal. This is back when I worked for the U.S. military. This was like 20 plus years ago, over 20 years ago. And I went to the commissary. This is where you go do your shopping in Europe. And I went down the cereal aisle. Dude, it was like 40 feet long aisle. Cereal on both ends from like top shelf to bottom shelf down the entire aisle. And you can go around the corner, there's another aisle of cereal just like it. And I'm just like, dude, how am I supposed to pick cereal? There's too much. You know what I didn't buy? I didn't buy cereal. It was so overwhelming. That's women right now. The choices are overwhelming, so they're not making any choices. And they're just enjoying, like, oh, look at all the cereal. Oh, it's all for me. But it's not leading you anywhere. Because the reality is, men aren't cereal. And you have to be picked by those guys. So guys are not like women. Ladies, understand this. This is a point you have to take away from this video if you came this far. We're not women. We cast a wide net. We're like drag fishers. You're like casting a line and then catching fish and throwing back the ones you don't like. If you've ever been fishing, you have to understand how slow of a process this is. This is a long, slow process because you're very picky. And you know what? That's fine, sisters. That's fine to be picky. But be picky when you're young, when you have options of the actual best catches there are. Men were drag fishers. That guy who's talking to you, spitting nice game, you know why he's got nice game? Because he's talked to like 400 other women. Because that's what we do. We drag net fish. We throw out a huge net and we pull up as much as we can. And whatever doesn't fall out in the net, we try to see now, because there's like this counter fishing going on. If you're trying to catch this fish, he's got you on the line, you got him on the line. Or maybe you pop off the line and say, you know what? I don't really want to be here. This is a really weird example, but you get my point. It's like counter hunting. Everybody's hunting each other. And maybe you don't like him. You're just in the net. Hey, look, this one stuck around. It's not always like that, Sometimes the guy really likes you and he wants you to stay around. But the fact of the matter is, this is a two-way street. And when you're pushing, your 30s, sister, you're not considered prime. You're not considered prime choice. You know what I mean? You're not considered the top and initial choice that a guy is looking for, even if he's in his 50s. Okay? Understand that. I know this for a fact because I talk to men probably more than you do, sisters. You have to understand that. I'm a man. So what do? I talk to men. Sisters, it's not a competition. We're not, guys don't hate you. Brothers don't hate you. When guys are trying to give you advice on this stuff, we're not trying to give you advice. They're going to take advantage of us, and that's what they want. They want to take advantage of us, and that's why they're telling us to do like this and do like that. It's bad advice. Okay, well, I'm telling you something. All these single women out here who are so great and so wonderful and all this type of stuff, if they're so great and wonderful, why are they single? If they're amazing women, why are they single? It can't be the case that all these men don't know what they're doing and don't know what they're looking for. It can't be the case that so many men don't understand what a good catch is. So there's obviously a misunderstanding here. And that misunderstanding is what men actually want and what you think men should want. Sisters, I want the best for you. But man, what I'm seeing right now, it was nothing like this. I remember just like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when I was really looking really hard, I didn't see this many sisters at this age range. It's like it's the same sisters, but they've been on the application for so long, or just a ton flooded on there. I don't know what's going on, but I've never in my, and this is where I always source wives, when I'm looking for a wife is application. I've never seen this many sisters in that age group. And it could be said that, okay, Abuamerican, it's the algorithm of the application. You're an older guy, and therefore it's giving you older women. Fair point. But then 4 or 5 years ago, I wasn't significantly younger. So, you know what I mean? So I was 45 back then. Am I going to see like such a significant difference when I'm 50? Obviously not. So if you don't want to be one of these sisters on these applications, struggling, and you can't tell me you're not struggling if you're 30 plus years old as a woman on a matrimonial application. Well then, I don't know. But anyway, sisters, if you're over 30, I'm not telling you settle for what you don't want. No, because then you're not going to be happily married. You're gonna end up divorced. You're gonna be just another one of these divorcee single moms or whatever else, or you're gonna be miserably married. And I don't want that either. But I'm telling you, you really need to retool and rethink the way you view men and relationships with men and marriage with men. Because, offering yourself at 31 as a career woman who's not going to cook or clean and with an attitude, this is not appealing. And I know we hate these examples, but you go to a car dealership. Are you going to buy like an 11-year-old car with a bunch of problems? You know what I mean? And like a whole bunch of colors and settings and all sorts of interior that you don't really want. And then, have the car dealer tell you, hey, this is an absolute steal. You should be happy to have this, and argue with you about a car that has all the features you don't want. And he's going to argue with you righteously that you're a fool, and this is an amazing car and only an idiot wouldn't want it. You would think that person's insane. And this is what a lot of brothers, this is like the heart of a lot of the conversations that take place online with brothers and sisters and all this other types of stuff. There's been a huge disconnect, sisters. And I don't know who to blame other than feminism, but whatever the case may be, if you are one of these sisters, you really need to stop and think. It's not the rest of the world, it's just you. And I mean that sincerely. I don't mean that to make you mad. Like I said, I want the best for you. But sometimes we have to stop and look at a situation and say, hey, you know what? I'm actually the problem here. There's a problem here when I see what I see with so many sisters in this age group on matrimonial apps, single. And it's obviously going to be single for a while longer because, again, nobody's looking for sisters in that age category. So now you have to do extraordinary things because you're in an extraordinary situation and you need to get extraordinary results. You need to get them soon because every year is counting against you. Because, like I said, when I talked to this 41-year-old Pakistani sister, I was like, all she got to do is sneeze on the audio and I'm done. She could be the sweetest thing in the world. Attractive as she is, and she coughs or has a hiccup, I'm like, why'd she have to hiccup? You see what I'm saying? Every year brings you closer to a dude just looking for any reason to dismiss you. I'm dropping secrets on you here, sisters, but I'm not really sure how well received it's going to be. It's your man, Abuamerican.